Hi, I'm Mark, and welcome to the current Outside Views report on Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. Ukraine again damaged 2 bridges in Crimea this week. But will Kiev manage to cut off the lifelines to the Russian-occupied peninsula? Well, there was a huge hole that has been yawning in the roadway of the Chonha Bridge since Sunday. The connection between mainland Ukraine and Crimea is badly damaged. And it's not the first, because Ukraine keeps attacking the infrastructure in the Russian-occupied part of their country. And most recently it was said from Kiev that 2 important supply routes for the Russian occupiers had been destroyed. The Ukrainian military attacked 2 bridges to the Crimean peninsula on Sunday, and according to the occupation chief of the southern Ukrainian region of Cherson, Vladimir Saldo, the Chonha Bridge between Crimea and mainland Ukraine was hit by a missile and damaged, and traffic had to be blocked. A little further northeast, near Henichesk, a bridge was fired at with several rockets, as Saldo wrote on Telegram. And according to the Institute for War Studies, the ISW, citing Russian sources, the Ukrainians shot down a total of 12 missiles in the direction of Crimea. The Russian air defense was able to intercept 9 cruise missiles, they say. The Ukrainian armed forces claimed responsibility for the attacks a few hours later, which is quite unusual, by the way. In the weeks before, Kiev had admitted later or not at all that it would attack bridges or other targets in Crimea. But even this information could not initially be checked independently. The Ukrainian military is said to have used Storm Shadow cruise missiles, as reported by the ISW. The cruise missiles have a range of 250 kilometers and were developed by Great Britain, France and Italy. The French name is Scalp. They are fired from aircraft at ground targets, and the missiles have a guidance and navigation system. And this allows targets to be attacked precisely. The fact is that the Ukrainians have had Storm Shadow cruise missiles from British and French supplies since this summer, and it is quite possible that the weapon system, against which the Russian air defense system can apparently do little, was also used there. Although the Russian occupiers had to block car traffic over the bridges, they only appear to have been slightly damaged, at least according to the ISW. Apparently, the attack also hit a gas line, the failure of which affected 20,000 people. That was written by German public television, citing the Russian occupation chief Saldo as well. But if the Ukrainians had actually used Storm Shadow cruise missiles, the damage could have been much greater. And so it's quite interesting. It suggests that the weapons are not yet being used professionally. Otherwise, the Ukrainians would have aimed at the bridge pillars and not just at the roadway, because repairs would be much more complex that way. The head of the Crimean crew, Sergei Aksionov, said that the repairs to the Chonha Bridge were already underway on Monday. And according to the Russian occupation authorities in Crimea, car traffic to the peninsula in the north was still possible on 2 connecting routes to the mainland after the attacks. Any failure of the military infrastructure impedes the Russian supply routes, though. The resupply of the Russian defense positions in the occupied southern Ukrainian region of Zaporizhia and in the border area with the Donetsk region is particularly critical. Since the beginning of the invasion, Russian troops have occupied large parts of the region. And the Chonha Bridge is an important supply route for the Russian army, which has been waging a war of aggression against Ukraine for more than 17 months now. The bridge has already been attacked several times by the Ukrainians as part of their counter-offensive this summer, and Kiev wants to liberate all part of its territory occupied by Russia, including Crimea, which Moscow illegally annexed already in 2014. And if you want to know more about the developments in this war, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.